I was at rock bottom, struggling to make ends meet, my dreams of success fading into a gray blur. Every day felt like a battle against despair until one stormy night changed everything. Late one evening, as rain hammered against my apartment window, I found myself poring over an old, dusty book I'd stumbled upon at a flea market. Its pages hinted at a secret ritual way to summon an entity that could grant one incredible stroke of luck. Desperate for a breakthrough, I decided to try it. I followed the instructions carefully, lighting a few candles and reciting the incantation in a trembling voice. Before I knew it, the room went cold. Out of the shadows emerged a tall, dark figure with burning eyes and a voice that sent shivers down my spine. "Are you prepared to pay the price for your dreams?" the figure asked. Without knowing what else to do, I whispered, "Yes." In that moment, I felt a strange contract seal between us. I didn't see ink or paper, it was as if the deal was etched into my very soul. The next morning, everything changed. An opportunity I'd longed for finally came my way, a business offer, so promising that it felt like a miracle. Within weeks, I was riding the wave of success. My bank account swelled, doors opened, and recognition followed. The change was so swift, I could hardly believe it. But as my fortune grew, I began noticing unsettling signs. I'd wake up in the middle of the night with a racing heart, haunted by visions of that dark figure. Whispers echoed in my mind, reminding me of a debt I hadn't yet paid. Despite the glittering rewards, a creeping dread lurked beneath every triumph. There was one person who had always been by my side, Mark, my best friend since childhood. He'd cheered me on through every setback, and I trusted him implicitly. Yet, as my success soared, Mark's behavior started to change. He became oddly quiet and secretive, his eyes shadowed with a hint of guilt whenever the topic of my miracle came up. One rainy afternoon, as I was sorting through some old belongings for inspiration, I found a scrap of paper tucked inside the ancient book. It wasn't part of the ritual instructions. It was a note in a shaky hand. "A deal made in darkness never comes without a twist. Trust can be the sharpest weapon of all." My blood ran cold. I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to this pact than I had ever imagined. My mind raced. Was someone else involved? I recalled Mark's sudden knowledge about obscure details of the ritual, the kind only someone who had done extensive research, or, worse, had been part of it themselves, would know. Determined to uncover the truth, I arranged to meet Mark at our old favorite cafe, a quiet, familiar spot that contrasted starkly with the storm brewing inside me. I confronted him gently at first. "Mark, lately you seem different. Do you know anything about the ritual I did? About the contract I made?" I asked, my voice low and tentative. His eyes darted away, and after a long, painful pause, he sighed. "I'm sorry, man. I didn't want to see you suffer. I've been keeping a secret, a terrible secret." Mark confessed that months ago, he had been in a similar place as I was, feeling trapped and desperate. In his search for a way out, he had discovered the same book. But unlike me, he had never summoned the entity. Instead, he secretly studied the ritual, hoping to learn its secrets without taking the risk himself. When I made my desperate call into the dark, Mark recognized the danger. In his own conflicted way, he had manipulated events behind the scenes to ensure that I would sign the contract. He believed that by drawing me into the pact, he might be able to control, or even reverse its effects later on. Mark's intentions were twisted. He was driven by envy, fear, and a desperate desire to protect me, even if it meant orchestrating a betrayal. "I thought I could save you from making a mistake," Mark admitted, tears welling in his eyes. But in doing so, I became a part of the darkness myself. As I listened, the shocking truth hit me like a freight train. The dark figure wasn't just an impersonal force of fate, it thrived on betrayal. Mark's secret manipulation had amplified the price of my success. The whispers in my head, the nightmares, they weren't just reminders of a bargain made in haste. They were the consequences of a shattered trust. At that moment, I realized the true cost of my deal wasn't simply about success or wealth, it was about the price of loyalty and the impact of betrayal. The dark entity fed on our broken bonds, growing stronger as our trust crumbled. Standing in the dim light of the cafe, I felt torn. The success I'd gained was undeniable, but it came at a steep emotional toll. I could either continue down this dark path risking my soul and the remnants of our friendship, or fight back and reclaim my integrity, even if it meant sacrificing everything I'd worked for. I looked Mark in the eye and said, "I won't let our trust be the price of my soul. I'm breaking this pact, even if it means losing what I gained." Mark's face crumpled with regret, and for a moment, silence reigned between us as thunder rumbled outside. That night, under the pale glow of a full moon, I returned to the spot where it all began. In the quiet of an abandoned lot, I recited a counter-incantation I had discovered in a hidden corner of the book, a plea for forgiveness, for redemption, and for the severing of the dark bond. As I spoke the final words, the temperature plummeted, and a piercing scream shattered the silence. The presence that had haunted me convulsed in agony, then slowly faded into nothingness. In the days that followed, the eerie whispers ceased, and the nightmares lost their grip. My sudden business successes started to wane, but something more important began to flourish: a sense of peace, and the gradual mending of the broken trust with Mark. We spent long hours talking about our mistakes, our hopes, and the lessons we'd learned from flirting with darkness. Though I lost much of the material success that once defined me, I gained something far more valuable: the knowledge that true success isn't measured by wealth or rapid achievement, but by integrity, trust, and the strength to choose light over darkness. Today, I share my story, not as a cautionary tale of lost fortunes, but as a reminder that shortcuts paved with betrayal and desperation come at a cost far greater than we can imagine. The twists and turns of my journey taught me that our most important victories are the ones we win over our own inner demons, and that the bonds of trust we share with others are our true treasures. If you're ever tempted to take an easy path to success, remember, every deal has its price, and sometimes the darkest bargains are the ones that cost us our very souls.